Okay, let's take a look at where we were and where we're going. First week, of course, Don Richmond, as I said, defeated Dan Broder, 417-363. Then he went on to defeat Rich Clark, 375-403. And that brings us to week number 3. Tim Lipke's coming in. Next week, Joe Ashline, and then our top seed, Bob Kelly. So it doesn't get any easier going up the ladder. Lipke, Ashline, and Kelly. Quite a lineup. Throw in Don Richmond. He's certainly made a name for himself with us. He has yet to lose on our show. He came in as the number 2 seed several weeks back, won 2 matches to qualify for the Tournament of Champions, and has come on and won 2 more weeks. 2-7 left for Don, and he'll open up with a spare. He has put some terrific runs together. Consecutive marks. As I mentioned, the 9-mark episode 2 weeks ago against Dan Broder, 5 in a row, followed by a fill of a strike last week against Rich Clark. He just seems to get them in bunches. 4 horsemen left for Don, 1, 2, 4, and 7. That close to 2 in a row. Couldn't carry the 7-pin. First look at Tim Lipke. Well, it looks a lot worse than it is. You got the 4-7 and then the 5, 6, and 9, but he's got a piece of wood angle there that if he catches the 4-7, he's got a chance. Oh, 6-pin was the problem. And it's a 9. Tim does most of his bowling at the Londonderry Bowling Center in Londonderry, New Hampshire. Everything but the 9-pin for the spare. No doubt about that one. He's right on the 9-pin, so he gets his first mark. What a shot in the 3, 5, and 10. Played it to the left of the 3-pin. Pushes everything to the right. Almost went up and over that 10-pin. We have a huge crowd on hand now. Don Richmond's going to drop 8 on his spare. 5 and 9 left. Double piece of wood out in front. Another piece of wood to the left. Let's be careful these pins don't pick up and go over the top. 2 in a row and 3 out of the first 4 frames marks for Don Richmond. No effort at all in his delivery, nice and easy. Hello, 5, 6, 7, only 3 on the spare. Clean out the 1, the 2, and the 8. Finishes with an 8:30 after 3. 14-pin advantage early going for Don Richmond. Timmy's married, wife Wendy. There's 2 children, Shane and Shauna. Of course, all of you know Timmy. He's assistant manager at the Londonderry Bowling Center. Probably why he does most of his bowling there. 5, 6, and 10. Oh, nice shot by Tim Lipke in the 4th. Don Richmond for the fill on his spare. Diamond leave. Quite. It's amazing. Don had only 2 strikes en route to the 417 the first week he bowled with us, and last week 403, and he only had 1 strike, but a bunch of spares. 16 total marks last week against Rich Clark, and 16 total marks against Dan Broder. 3, 6, 10 on the right with a 7-pin. Got a shot. Got a shot. Cut it too much. Too sharp on that shot. Cut the 3-pin in front of the 7. Let's take a look at that. Watch the 3-pin. Right in front, back in front of the 7-pin. Never touched it. Seven, 10. Well, he's got a piece of wood in front of the 7. Another one way out in front. The front edge of the plate. Let's see what Tim decides to do. He decides to get all the wood out of the way so he can make a beautiful 10 box by picking up the 7-10 without wood. Not quite what Tim was planning on. I think he actually thought he had a shot at making those, as did I, but didn't work out. 57 at the halfway point. Trails by 13. Mentioned at the opening of the show that Timmy has one of the highest 3-string totals in the Tournament of Champions. He has the highest at 467 back in 1991 against Peter Flynn in the first round of the tournament. Ooh, he had the 1, the 3, and the 10, and took out the 1 and the 10. These guys get these 3-string totals. Goodness, Don Richmond's 510, Tim Lipke 515. I need 4 games to get up that high. It's amazing bowling for 3 games. And it's a 10 for Don. 90 through 7. Right, folks, he has gone 3 open frames again. Doesn't do this very often, or he hasn't the last several weeks. And he's going to have to make a shot here in the 1, 2, and 10. Just sliding by, just catching a little bit, not sliding by, just catching a little bit of the head pin. If you're in the market for a new car, please keep in mind some of our great sponsors that have been with us over the years, and one of them being Emmett Horgan and the gang down at Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan on Route 97 in Salem. So if you're in the market, get on and talk to Emmett and the boys and tell them you heard about them on Stars and Strikes. We appreciate that. Well, you get this? Not quite. 76, still a 14-pin advantage for Don Richmond. Tim Lipke was the #1 seed in his ladder championship, and he defeated Paul Berger back in February of this year. 405 to 315. Paul Berger definitely was off that day. Really struggled, and that's how Timmy earned his spot on the Tournament of Champions. And of course, his 405 was what put him in the 3rd seeded spot. Oh, great shot, Tim Lipke. Oh my! Take a look at this one. Splits the 3-6 into the 5 and then the 4-7, right. Spare up in the 8th. Great shot by Tim Lipke. Three, 7, 8, and 10. Still got the 7, 8, and 10. I'll tell you, these bowls can find a way. He almost made that for a 10. Great effort. Take a look at this. Snaps the wood off the wall. 10-pin comes flying across in the 8 and just misses the 7. So try to break up the 4 and 7. He's got the 3, 4, 7. But he's got some wood in between. Somehow he has to clip the 3-pin and use that wood for the 4-7. Don't know if the wood is out far enough. Yeah, will it go? Not quite. Well, this will be his lowest opening game so far in the Tournament of Champions at 117. Really has never really been headed at all. He had a back when he bowled Dan Broder. Had an 11-pin advantage after 1, but then it ballooned to a 39-pin lead going into the 3rd game. Last week he opened up with a 145 against Rich Clark's 113. So he's 32-pin advantage after 1 game last week and was never really headed. Tim Lipke, that's a 9 fill on the spare, trying to make it 2 in a row, and he does. He now has a chance to take the lead in the match. Tim and Cindy are debating who's going to pick the ball up. Tim waited long enough. It wasn't. There was no choice. It was rolling back up on the approach. 105 in the 9th, plus the bonus ball for Tim. No, he knew as soon as he threw it, pulled the ball left, got just the 2-pin. So when I said he has a chance of taking the lead, now he's going to have to convert this for a spare if he was going to take the lead. needs it. No, Don Richmond will have the lead, but it won't be a substantial lead like the last 2 weeks. And it'll be a 9-box and a 115. And so Don Richmond will take just a 2-pin advantage this week into the second game. Take a few short break and come back. String number 2. Don't go away. We have $50 in the jackpot for the bonus ball contest at the end of the show. Don't forget, you got to send your postcards in to be able to win. Send your name, address, and a number from 1 to 10, and mail off to Park Place Lanes, Route 28, Windham, New Hampshire, 03087, and maybe you'll be the proud winner of $50 plus a set of bowling balls. Although if I were you, I'd send in a couple 4s, because that's all Don Richmond seems to knock down at the end of the show. He's taking a lot of heat for that. Everything but the 2-pin for Tim Lipke, trailing by just 2 pins. And had actually outmarked Don Richmond in the first game. 4 spares for Tim, 3 for Don Richmond. He's going to be looking at the 610 piece of wood rolling out. That Cindy was on her way down to clear the wood out, but it rolled off into the channel. Two in a row for Tim Lipke. This is Tim's second Tournament of Champions. He was on with us back in 1991. And Don Richmond will shoot at the triangle in the right-hand corner, the 6, 9, and 10. And he'll make that for a spare. Matching the spare put up by Tim Lipke. Trying to protect just a 2-pin advantage. And he'll also shoot at the 6 and 10. But he has a piece of wood that's going to have to be negotiated with. Looking right at him. It's one of these shots you just got to just make believe the wood isn't there and just shoot at the 6. And hopefully you'll catch the wood and the 6-pin. Yes, very nicely done. So he matches the spares put up by Tim Lipke. So the advantage is still 2 pins in favor of Don Richmond. Really carry the 10? No. 4, 7, 10. It's one of those situations you might want to go by the 4-pin and just catch the 7-pin, have the wood clip the 4 and across the lane for the 10. Oh, Timmy played it inside, slapped it off the wall, and came flying across, but missed the 10-pin. Great effort there, trying to make it 3 in a row. Watch this, inside the 4-pin. And actually the 4-pin is the one that came sliding across. That's going. That can't stay up. My, look at that. The 4-pin rocking back and forth. Even the crowd can't entice it to fall over. That was defying gravity. a spare, and 3 out of 4 boxes are marks for Tim Lipke. Don Richmond in the 1-3 pocket, but he's left himself with a triangle 2, 4, and 5, but also the 10 pin. Oh, that wood stopped it. Great effort. Both bowlers making spectacular shots and almost converting spares that you wouldn't think possible of making. 10-44. Let's take a look at this. Watch the second piece of wood. Looks like it's going to go there. Wood slows it down. The lead is now 1 pin in favor of Don Richmond. Tim Lipke already has a mark posted in the 4th. And he matches the mark in the 4th by Tim Lipke, so we've got a close one. Hang on, you won't want to miss this one. Take a short break, come back, we'll finish game number 2. Don't go away.
Here are the winning numbers from last night's Tri-State Megabucks drawing.
One pin separating both bowlers right about the halfway point, and both working on marks. Interesting statistic. We're halfway through the match between Don Richmond and Tim Lipke, and we have not had a strike yet. And all spares. 6 by Don Richmond, 7 by Tim Lipke. Cindy Sissom going down and clearing a piece of wood out and get a nice round of applause for her efforts. Now Tim Lipke will concentrate on the 9 pin. Trying to make it 4 boxes, 4 marks out of 5 boxes, and he does just that. Looked like Tim turned that ball over a little bit more than usual, and that ball broke a little sharper at the end from right to left, which is a little unusual for Tim. He chops out just 3 pins, the 1, the 8, and the 9. Leaves himself the spread eagle plus the 5. 77 at the halfway point this game. Oh boy. And took out the 3 pin. Great out. The 9 box works that out for the 9. He gives him 86 through 6. Missing the head pin to the right as Don Richmond gives him 60. Tim Lipke now takes over the lead. Don Richmond is married, his wife Debbie and his son DJ both in the audience watching. 1, 2, 4, and 10. What he's trying to do, he's trying to catch the 2 pin and the wood. And that's why. Otherwise the ball deflects around the 2 pin. Gives him 69 at the halfway point. Tim Lipke now leads in the game by 8. In the match by 6. And another 9 pin drop, still looking for our first strike. This for the spare. Yes. Spare up in the 6, trying to regain the lead. You're in the Park Place Lane area. Come in and bowl a few games and need a drink or something to eat. Visit the Willow Tree North restaurant right here at the lanes. Tim Lipke, our first strike. Crowd really behind Timmy right now, and the 5-pin and finally the 8. Yes, the Willow Tree North for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Great food, great atmosphere. Stop by and see Rodney and the crew. 5 and 9 left for Tim, trying to go spare on strike and preserve the lead. Yes, he gets it. Spare on strike. 106, 116 in the 8th, plus the bonus ball. Don Richmond has just got to try to weather the storm, put his own marks up. Don does most of his bowling at the East Weymouth Bowlaway. A little heavy on the head pin, just 6. Now remember, he had the similar leave before, and he cut the 3-pin in front of the 7. This time he goes on the inside because of the wood, leaves the 10. .94. Tim Lipke increases his lead now to 10 pins overall, 12 in this game. He's trying to put his first strike up. Leaves the 9. But can he get by the piece of wood? Now I say he can't. The wood is rolling out a little further. Oh, that's a great shot. Made it look awful easy, but he had to play that wood high. Matches the spare. Let's take another look. Almost right on the cap. Excellent shot by Don Richmond. Tim Lipke now working on a spare. Gets the diamond leave, 3, 5, 6, and 9. 3 in a row? No, sliding by the 3-pin. Ten, 132. Second strike, not quite. Everything but the 5. Timmy's wondering how that could have stood up. Don't want to be too far left on this piece of wood now. It's right on the red line. Spare in the 10th. 142. Another 9-pin drop, the 5-pin again, 151, and a 2-string total of 266. Great round of applause for Tim Lipke. Now Don Richmond is working on a spare. And he'll drop 9. Just the 3-pin. Spare up in the 9th. He pulled that one to the left. Just 4. Well, Tim Lipke will have the lead. However, it's going to be under 20. It's a 10 and a 137 and a 2-string total of 254. And it's a 12-pin advantage for the third game for Tim Lipke. Come back and see who will take on Joe Ashline next week. "12 pins. That's the difference between Don Richmond and Tim Lipke. Don has not found himself in this position the last couple of weeks. He's had some substantial leads going into the third game. Oh boy. Will he get it? Not quite on the 9-pin. Big ball, 6-pin. Wants the wood to turn? It does. Don Richmond draws first blood in this third game by putting that spare up in the second. Remember, he's trailing by 12. Winner of this match takes on Joe Ashline, our number 2 seed in the Tournament of Champions. That's next week. 2 weeks from today, Bob Kelly, our number 1 seeded. Tim Lipke answers the call with a strike in the first, trying to preserve that 12-pin advantage. Remember, he had 2 solid 9-pin drops going out in that second game. This time, doesn't leave the 5. And 2 weeks from today, Bob Kelly will be here, our number 1 seed. 3 and 5 left for Tim, trying to go spare on strike. And he does just that, negates that spare put up by Don in the second, so Don has just got to continually mark. This on the spare. Wants it to come this way. Another 6-pin. He's had a lot of these 6-pins to shoot at for spares. None probably more important than this one. Oh. How can you miss it by half an inch, quarter of an inch? Just sliding by. Well, it remains to be seen whether that's a costly miss or not. I'm sure Don wanted that one, especially with Tim Lipke sitting on one in the second. Two, 4, 6 and 10. Piece of wood in between the 2 and the 4, which should help the 2-pin jump toward the 6 and 10. Right behind it. 2 open frames. Just 4 on the spare. Well, Don gained 5 and count on the spares. He had a 9, Timmy had a 4, and he's liable to gain a few more here. So the match is still going to be under 20. 14 pins. That's the lead for Tim Lipke. Well. The 189 again.
Good for you. Tim, sooner or later this is going to go.
Pretty good effort. And it's a 10, and check the scoreboard. 51-49 for Don Richmond. A 14-pin advantage for Tim Lipke. 6 boxes remaining. Don't miss this one. All right, here we go. Final 6 frames now. Don Richmond trailing by just 14 pins. Not much to shoot at. The 5, 7, 8, 9. Cleared the triangle out, but nothing touched the 7. Another 10 box. Don's only left like 4 pins standing the entire match. Well, he's pinning very well. 5 and 8. Piece of wood next to the 5. Be careful this wood isn't in, or it's in too deep that it might go by the 8. No, just caught it. Just caught that 8 pin. Spare up in the 6th. Lipke light hit, wants the 10 pin to clear out of there. 7-10. There's another piece of wood laying against the sidewall. Of course, that's considered down, obviously. Tim's going to have to play the 2 pieces of wood in front of the 7 pin. There, and he got it. Great shot on a 7-10. A clutch mark by Tim Lipke. Take a look at this one. Increases 14-pin advantage with this ball, but he's opposite of spare. Big 9-pin drop. Leaves himself to 10. Piece of wood way out in front. And he's shaking his head. He wants to probably try to get by that wood. He tried to and just slid by. Clears it out in the 10 pin. 10 pin for the 10 box. Don Richmond, an important ball. Kicks out the 6 pin, gives himself an 8-pin drop. 2-4 left. Pins is the lead for Tim Lipke now. In that pivotal 8 box. That's the my estimation, one of the most important boxes of the match if you're close. You want to put that mark up in the 8th so you can go into the final 2 frames working on a mark, and it's not going to be an easy one. How does he do that? 7, 9, 10. Your best bet here is to try to get something with each ball. That's a tough break, Don Richmond. And it'll be a 7 box.
Tough one, Don. Tough one.
Well, he did put 1 mark up, but he's going to need at least 1 more mark, depending on what Tim Lipke does. That means the opposite of spare 7. And he'll have a shot at the 3, at the 2 and the 5, but watch the piece of wood. That's going to deaden the 2 pin. Roll back slightly. Maybe he can get by it by playing the 2. Exactly what I was talking about. Kind of deadens the 2 pin. The ball is deflected to the left, and 2 pin goes straight back out instead of carrying the 5 pin. So both bowlers, tough breaks. 2 boxes in a row. That'll drop the lead to just 8 pins. 8 pins is the lead for Tim Lipke. He's opposite a 7 box. One of these bowlers will take on Joe Ashline next week. Well, he's had trouble on lane 31 hitting the head pin. He's got the 189 a couple times, and this time flushing the head pin again. It's a good try there. He can gain a couple in count by getting these 2 pins and push the lead into double figures. Lead is at 9 right now. Make it 10. 10 pins. That's the advantage for Tim Lipke. Final 2 frames. Week number 3 of the 1996 Megabucks Tournament of Champions.
I know.
Don will have to have at least 1 mark. He would like 2. And this is not going to be an easy one. With the wood there, it's going to deflect the ball away from the 10 pin. Well, the second piece may keep everything in play. You don't know a lot of times how the wood's going to react. Let's see what happens. Well, there it is. Deflected the ball around the 10 pin, came back. Still there. Can't afford to leave anything standing, though. .111. Let's see what happens to that ball. Yeah, deflected up and around the 10 pin, came back, missed it a second time. No, doesn't take any brain scientist to realize what happens here. Don Richmond needs some kind of a mark and a big fill. And it's not going to be an easy one. The 2, 4, and 10. It's going to have to cut the 2 into the 10. He's got a shot at it. Whoa, what a shot. What a clutch shot in the 10. Keeps his hopes alive. My, oh my. Ice water in his veins. What a tough, tough spare to have to make. And now I would say we'd have to get 8 or 9. He would love the strike. So it's 8, and it's 129. And 3-string total of 383. So Tim Lipke would need 117 to tie, 118 to win. Needs 19 pins. Needs 19 pins.
Come on, Tim. Right in there.
117 to tie, 118 to win. That was a good out there. 108. He needs 9 pins to win. 8 is the tie, 9 is a win. Let's check my math here. He needs a 10 pin, 10 box to win. 9 to tie, 10 to win. Oh. That's the tie right there. We have a tie match right now. He needs this for the win. And he's got it. Tim Lipke, 118. And his 3-string total of 384, just edging Don Richmond out. We'll be back to talk to the bowlers and set next week up. What a match. Stay with us. How about a round of applause for these bowlers? What a great match. Tim Lipke just edging Don Richmond out, 384, 383. Don, you gave us some great moments the last couple weeks, and you gave us your all that last match, but it just wasn't meant to be.
No, I guess not. A couple of spots here and there. You know, you get a, especially mentioning that the 7-9-10 there, that ball there. I thought that ball looked like a strike on the way down there. It felt like one, too, when I left it. But that's part of the game and everything, and Timmy bowled good, and well, in the end there, he made it very interesting. And when I threw the 8 on that fill in the last box, I was looking for 10, really put the pressure on him so he could get a mark, make him a mark anyways. But
well, he's a tough competitor, and this will soothe the wounds a little bit. Check for $300, and his first time with us this year. I hope to see you back.
I hope to too. So let's see what happens.
Don Richmond. Okay, and Tim Lipke will throw the bonus ball for us. 50.